Hi, this is Sandy. We have concentrated on all things fall. This is the month of October that I'm filming. And we've done pumpkins and witches and all kinds of scary things, spiders. But now we're going to switch a little bit and we're going to do skulls. And we're going to do a Mexican culture, or we're going to draw something from the Mexican culture and their sugar skulls. And we're going to talk about what they are, how they have become an art. Okay, we're ready to start. We're going to need a rock. If you go back, I'm not sure what lesson it was, but we had made mandalas on rocks and we painted them. So this isn't the first time we've painted on rocks. We need some paint, and I'm using white. And then we need a paintbrush, a pencil, and then I've got lots of Sharpies. Sharpies aren't going to come off in the water, but this white paint will. So we are also going to have to give this a good coating of it's Krylex spray matte finish. And that way we can put it outside. Let's talk about our rock. I have chosen a rock that's almost in a triangular form. This is because we're going to put a skull on this, and I didn't want to have to do too much work once I start the rock. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the first coat of paint on my rock because I want the rock to be especially dry when we start to work with it. So I'm going to just put some paint on it, and any side of my rock that's exposed, I want to coat with paint. I'm using Liquitex Heavy Body Acrylic Paint, and this is titanium white. And if you can see, I'm just working the paint way into the rock. I want to cover all of the rock. It'll probably take 2 coats of white paint in order to get this rock nice and coated. So I'm working it in. Now when I get to the sides, I really don't want to see my sides from the side, so I'm going to go even below the side, just a little bit, so it still looks like a skull out on my decoration, one of my decorations. Now, when you do this, we don't want to see any paint rims. You want to make it all nice and smooth, because whatever we paint here, we've got to work on. When I get my rock covered, I'm going to put it aside and I'm going to let it dry. You couldn't use a hair dryer on it to dry it, or you can just let it sit out for a day just to make sure this is nice and dry. So there's my rock. I've got the paint on it. It's nice and smooth. There's no ridges. Now I'm going to put my rock aside and let it dry. Then I'm going to give it another coat of paint, and put it aside again and let it dry. Smoothing out all the ridges. Okay, I'm putting my rock aside. And when I put my rock aside, I'm going to be cleaning out the brush. If we don't clean out this brush right now, when you're done using it, the paint will dry in the brush and it will ruin your brush. And we spent money on that brush. We don't want to ruin our brushes. So to clean your brush, take it over to the sink, run some water on it, put a little bit of dish soap in it, swish it around in your hand until it comes out, until the water comes out without any white color in it. Okay, I'm going to stop my video and I'm going to go wash my brush. Okay, let's get started. A skull is the form of the head in bone with nothing on it, no skin or no hair. So it's just the form of the head. So let's talk about the shape. The shape is going to be almost an N on the top. And then it comes in, and then the bottom is where the mouth is. That's pretty easy to make. So why don't you try it on a piece of scratch paper and just draw a couple of skulls. How big are you going to make it? Take your rock, the size you're working with, and I'm just going around my rock. So my skull is going to have to be this big. Okay, so now I've got to decide. This obviously is going to be the top. And that's going to be the bottom. Do you see those parts on my rock, between my rock and my drawing of what I don't need? I can't cut it off. I'm going to have to do something with this little triangle here and this little triangle here. Okay, let's talk about the other parts that we're going to have on the skull. We're going to have eyes, and the eyes, we don't actually have eyeballs. They're just the sockets, the places where the eyes went. Remember when we did the face and we talked about where the eyes set in and where the mouth sets in? Well, this is going to be kind of different because we've got hair that took some of that up. We don't have hair anymore. So the eyes aren't clear up here. The eyes are going to be down here, right about like that. Then let's talk about the nose. When we have the nose, basically it's just the spot where the nose is, and that's almost a triangle. Then we're going to have the teeth. The teeth are always in here. You can make scary teeth if you want to make it scary. But remember, let's talk about the sugar skull and why it was there. It came from the prehistoric times in the Mesoamerican society. That's basically Mexico and below to the equator. And it was this, they started out as the people who used them used their prisoners from war, or they would get a sacrifice, and then they'd use the skull to give them passage to the god of the underworld. That was the original, what was originally used for this sugar skulls, or for the real skulls. Then Spain came in and they discovered they settled the Central American area, and they brought religion. It was kind of hard to take the old customs away, so we have new customs that are better for us, I guess. And they kept the traditions alive with the sugar skulls. So you no longer had to kill somebody to get their skull. You made their skull. And then it got to the point where they would use the sugar skulls as a way to remember their relatives or their loved ones who had died before them. And it, the sugar skulls would keep their spirit alive, and they would celebrate it on what they called the Dia de los Muertos, All Souls Day for us. It's November 2nd. So it isn't even Halloween, but we see these at Halloween. It's almost an art form. The colors mean different things. Red will mean family or blood. Orange is the sun. Yellow is, it signifies death in the Mexican culture because it's I guess the flower is the marigold. And then purple is for pain or royalty. I guess royalty can sometimes be a pain. Pink or white is hope and purity, and black is for the land of the dead. It's kind of fun just doing the research on the skulls. This is called a sugar skull. It was originally made from sugar, hot water, and lemon. And that creates a moldable mass that they would mold into the sugar, a skull, and then they would decorate it. Sometimes it was made in chocolate. Let's go back to making our teeth. We can just make the teeth ourselves. Almost looks like he's smiling, but he isn't smiling. And then when we decorate it, we're going to decide how we want to decorate it. They use things that would mean something to the person that they were decorating it for. Like maybe this is going to be a man, and maybe the man was a sailor, and you can put the anchor up here and then make decorations around it. Everything's about patterns. You can make other decorations. We decorated our name this way, didn't we? So we could have decorations like that. We could have decorations, and we could start in the center, and we could put some eyes in, and in our eyes we might want a flower. This person wasn't a flower person. Maybe he wanted just black. So we could put a flower in the eyes. What else could we put in the eyes that would be nice and not scary? How about a heart? So we could put a flower, we could put a heart, we could even put in the eyes a butterfly and decorate our butterfly. So those are all things we can include in the eyes. Maybe the person it was a fan of baseball. We could take and we could make a baseball. Or how about tennis? A tennis ball. And paint our eyes yellow. So that's the eyes. The nose, we could have just a simple triangle shape. And we could just black it out. Maybe we could just put circles in here. We could do almost anything with the nose. We could even change the shape a little bit and make the nose look like that. Could put a cross in the nose. You could still put a flower in the nose too, because that's smelling things. We could also change the shape of the nose to be a heart. And we can decorate it all we want. We could make two shapes for the nose, a left and a right. We could actually put stripes in the nose. Remember, this is for decoration. We want it to be colorful and we want it to be fun, but we don't want it to be real scary. We don't want to remember our loved ones as scary. Okay, so we've got the eyes, the nose. Let's talk about that mouth. Now, we could make the mouth with round teeth. And maybe our loved one didn't have a tooth. Maybe we would want to black out a tooth. We could just, maybe our relative or the person we're remembering was very quiet and they didn't talk a lot. We could just give it a line and some stitch marks. Lots of different ways to show the teeth or the mouth. Maybe we didn't have a full smile. Maybe we'll only have a half a smile. So now you've got to decide, what am I putting in my skull? Make sure you know where the eyes go. Figure out which nose you want to put in here. Put the mouth in. Figure out what kind of mouth in. And then get it all drawn up on a piece of paper so you know how big you're making things. You know that if you put your thumb inside those eyes, that's about the size of the eye that you need. If you put your pencil or your Sharpie around the mouth, this is about how wide that mouth has to be. You know before you put it on your rock where things are going. When we go to decorate, we can put all kinds of lines and patterns and colors, and we can even put a spider web, and that's what I think I'm going to do. Okay, so I've got my rock. It's on here. And I know if I go ahead and I put a pencil on here, I can make an outline so that I know that my cheeks go down here. And I'm using the shape of my rock. And I told you there would be a triangle. There's my triangle. Now I'm going to have to do something and black that triangle out. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to give my face a little bit of shape with my Sharpie. Okay, I've got all of this room here that needs to get blacked out because I really don't want it to be part of my design. So I'm taking my Sharpie and I'm just drawing and coloring. Knowing that when it sits out in my garden, in my rock garden, or on my they use what they call an altar. I won't be able to see it. Now if my paint is wet, it's going to come off of my Sharpie and it's going to ruin it. So you've got to make sure that this paint is dry. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, my eyes, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to outline them in black. They're going to be about the same size. And I'm going to put my nose in. And there's my mouth. That works. See, I didn't have to paint the underside of my rock because it's sitting. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to decorate my rock. I'm going to use my eyes and I'm going to put, I like the heart idea. So I've got a thin thin ultra fine point Sharpie now. Makes a fine line. So now I've drawn that out and I'm going to take my Sharpie now and fill in the area that is going to be black. Okay, I like that. The nose, I'm going to leave that for right now because I want to get decorated. I know different colors mean different things. I'm going to make my heart red, but I can do that later. I might want to start with some bright colors, which I don't think you can really see very well. I didn't pick a bright enough color. And I'm going to go around the eye. I'm going to switch colors so you can see. There, that's better. And I'm making circles. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Then I might go and get a different color. How about some orange? And let's come up with a different pattern here. Remember when we did the mandalas? We did a lot of lines, connecting those lines and filling them out over and over again. This is sort of like that, except for we don't have to just use lines. That'll look good. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do with my other eye. I've got these two here that I know I've got. Now I think I'm going to get some purple in there, and I'm going to give him some eyebrows. We never did talk about the hair. So let's talk about the hair. We said that skulls really didn't have hair, but what they could have is some flowers where the hair would be, like it's a rose. How am I drawing a rose? I'm just starting with a little U, and then going inside the U, and then around the U, and again, and again, and again, and again, and again. So it looks like just circles around and around. And then I'm going to could do a pattern where down the center we would have leaves. That's one way we could show hair. Like I said, we could do a spider web. That's the way it would look. And then come from the spider web, we could then do a little spider. Right down the side of the face. We could do it that way. That would be kind of cute. We can put almost any decoration up there. We could do a half circle and then do the ball. Or maybe we could do a football. We got to decide what's going to be the top of our head. The way my rock is shaped, I think a spider web would look good. So that's why I decided to do the spider web. Okay, so let's go back to our decoration here. I can shift colors here. And then what I do on one side, I have to do the same thing on the other. Okay, when I've got that down, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my spider web in. And I'm going to say this is the top of my skull right there. And I'm just drawing a line out and a line this way and a line this way and a line this way. Then remember, we've got a curved line connecting them. Maybe when I remember my loved one, I'm going to remember they hated spiders. Or maybe they loved spiders. And I'm going to let the spider come down here. Or maybe they got especially scared by a spider. There's my spider. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward the film now and let you watch me create my rock with all the decorations we've decided. Okay, get ready. Okay, my skull is done. Now, because we used Sharpie and because the paint was dry, we don't have to let it dry before we apply our crystal, our finish to our rock. So make sure that you give it at least 3 coats of this. And then you can put it outside if you want, or you can put it away with your decorations for Halloween. We use them for decorations for Halloween because skulls are one of the things that you'll see. It's always a scary thing. So that's why we use it. But remember that the De los Muertos, or the celebration to the dead, is a celebration. It is a time to remember the good things about your loved ones. And it's almost a party atmosphere. People will create feasts, lots of food, and lots of joy and dancing and remembering the things that they loved about their people that they've lost. Now, if you watch Disney, you can see Coco. Coco talks about this, and that's where the skulls came in. So now that you know a little bit more about the celebration that he was going through, you can understand what was going on in that show. So I want you to have a good time decorating your skulls, and let me see some of them. I would really like to see what they look like. Post them on the Facebook page. Okay, we'll see you next week, and I'm not sure what we're going to do, but it's going to be fun.